Hello everyone, I'm Carthu and welcome back to the dojo. Today we have another what if, and the topic, as you could see from the video thumbnail and title, is what if Grandpa Gohan lived and didn't actually die right under Goku's foot when Goku turned into the Oozaru form. Well, for starters, we assume that he lives through the rampage, and not that the rampage didn't happen, and thusly that Grandpa Gohan figured out that cutting off Goku's tail would solve the problem. And so, at the beginning of the series, we don't have a boy with a tail. We have a boy with a tail that was cut off. Now, this part here is an assumption, but we're gonna assume that Grandpa Gohan would choose to go along with Bulma and bring Goku, by proxy, to go hunt for these Dragon Balls. Maybe some sense of adventure, maybe some sense of this would be good for Goku to get out and see the world like he once did. Whatever you want to say. You'd also have a Goku here who is far, far stronger than in the original, since he was trained for much longer by a character who is very, very strong, as we saw in the Baba Saga. We have no idea if he did any training in the afterlife, but remember, he was only on Earth for one day, so he couldn't have trained much on Earth, not enough to justify him being tremendously stronger than he was. So, assuming he's around that power level, he actually probably could have killed Oozaru Goku if he really wanted to, but just didn't want to. Now, Pilaf would be a non-issue at this point. It would really come down to if they get locked up in that prison again, I guess, and if Goku didn't have his tail, maybe they never get out. But I'm gonna make another small assumption here, and say that Grandpa Gohan and Goku being far stronger than, say, Goku was in the original timeline at this point in the series, might actually be able to use a combined Kamehameha to get out of this situation. Now, obviously, they both ran into Muten and Roshi again, potentially not though, since Grandpa Gohan could also use the Kamehameha to take out the fire. This is a possible interaction that we miss, however, we do get the interaction between Grandpa Gohan and the Ox King, since they were both students of Muten Roshi. And actually still on Muten Roshi as a topic, right after the Pilaf Saga, Goku goes to train with him. Now, would the Turtle Hermit training actually be necessary for Goku at this point, since Goku has far exceeded his previous power? Well, yes and no. He could possibly use it to just shore up himself and maybe even make himself a little bit stronger, but I think the more important thing would be the technique that he learns, the schooling that he gets, and so on and so forth. So perhaps we can make the small assumption that at the very least he meets with and does some training with the Turtle Hermit, maybe not as extensive as his previous training, and perhaps he even gets an in through Grandpa Gohan. This would allow him to still form his friendship with Krillin, understand who Master Roshi is, and potentially even fight Master Roshi still in the tournament as Jackie Chung, and wouldn't change those events too much. The only difference I could see is actually that Grandpa Gohan may participate in that first tournament, giving someone for Krillin to face, and perhaps Krillin loses a bit earlier on in the tournament due to Grandpa Gohan participating, since Grandpa Gohan, again, should be pretty strong. Now, remember, Grandpa Gohan then would potentially win the tournament. Now, that's an on or off statement. You could actually have Goku beating Jackie Chung in the semifinals, Grandpa Gohan beating Krillin in the semifinals as well, and Goku meeting up with Grandpa Gohan in the finals. This would actually be an interesting take on the same concept though, where Goku does lose to Grandpa Gohan in the end. You then have the Red Ribbon Army Saga, which I think goes just about as smoothly as it did in the original manga and everything, since just with Grandpa Gohan alongside, you just have two Gokus basically at this point, both of them actually slightly stronger than the Goku who started out this journey. And you actually might even beat Tao Pai Pai with little to no difficulty, rather than actually having someone completely dismantle Goku and force him to climb Korin's tower. They still may climb the tower, I'm not saying that they wouldn't at all, but I'm saying for the different reasons, perhaps in the pursuit of the martial arts and of strength and of progression, since Grandpa Gohan would know about the tower through Master Roshi. But as that arc continues, of course we have the normal fights at Baba's, and we don't actually have Grandpa Gohan there at all. So, with no Grandpa Gohan there, it's actually a less interesting tournament at Baba's Palace, and it sort of falls flat of where it was. Now, we move forward a single step, and actually the stories can re-intertwine with the original, and that is the Piccolo arc, the Piccolo Daimao arc. I would assume that Grandpa Gohan, much like Roshi, would go to face off with Piccolo Daimao and would actually die in the process. I'm thinking that this would actually be a very sad scene of master and student dying alongside one another in the hopes of defeating the evil emperor, just as Master Mutaito did in the past, except these two wouldn't be successful, still allowing Goku to come in for the victory. And yeah, at that point, I think the timelines pretty much converge, other than the idea that Grandpa Gohan may live a bit longer until he eventually passes away from old age. I'm thinking it's as simple as that, to be completely honest, because his place in the story, if he had stayed alive, would be very similar to that of Roshi's, a mentor figure, someone who helps in fights when he can, and someone who participates in tournaments. I don't actually think there's anything interesting that changes in the Ten Shinhan arc, since Ten Shinhan still would beat Grandpa Gohan, Yamcha, Krillin, whoever he had to face, Jackie Chun, anybody who was in his way, he would beat. So I think it's actually very, very similar towards this part of original Dragon Ball, and then as we move into Z, he just takes a back seat, just like Master Roshi did, and that'd be it. Then the story basically remains just about the same until Grandpa Gohan unfortunately would pass away due to old age. And with that, guys, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to leave an opinion, counterpoint, in the comments down below, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell if you want to stay up to date with videos on this channel. Make sure you check out the Patreon and the t-shirt if you want to support this channel externally. But for now, guys, video outro.